أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
How are you, my brother?
Fine, alhamdulillah.
Real good. We will expect some other people to join us shortly, but I'm going to get right into this.
Okay.
Uh, Aging in America and in our Ummah. If you want to meaningfully impact aging in America, start with obesity. Few things erode longevity and quality of life as profoundly, accelerating the biological aging process and fueling nearly every major chronic disease. Obesity alone is linked to 13 types of cancer and cuts life expectancy by 3 to 10 years, depending on severity. It promotes DNA damage and accelerates our fundamental aging process, often measured by epigenetic age. And we can talk about that later. I want to get into definitions right now at this point. It's one of the principal differences between the United States and many of the world's longest lived populations, our obesity. Food is part of the problem. We are overfed but undernourished. A staggering 60% of all calories Americans consume come from ultra processed foods that fail to satisfy the appetite of that particular individual. They remain cheaper than whole foods and hijack our dopamine reward pathways, pushing us to overeat, incentivizing unhealthy food choices, and reinforcing addictive eating behaviors. This trifecta, not feeling like you're you've satisfied your hunger, the low cost of processed foods, and the built-in addictiveness keeps us in a cycle of poor health outcomes and runaway healthcare costs. In fact, it is estimated, in fact, I think this is United States Department of Health figures from 2021, 2022, that 18% of the gross national product of the United States of America goes toward treating health issues that are primarily caused by obesity. One out of every $5. But caloric excess is only part of the problem. One of the big problems, and I've heard Rashid on his program, and I can't remember the other brother talk about it, is the nutrient deficiency that we have. And there are three in particular. We could probably go through 30 or 40 if we had the time tonight, but I don't want to keep us here all night. There are three in particular that I wanted to talk about or touch on. One is low omega-3 levels, which affects 80 to 90% of Americans and has been shown to carry the same mortality risk as smoking. So, not having omega-3s as a part of your diet carries the same mortality risk as smoking. We're not taught this. Vitamin D deficiency. And being an African American male, in particular for me, vitamin D3 deficiency, easily corrected. It compromises the immune function, cognition, and reduces the lifespan if you have vitamin D deficiency. Our ancestors grew up getting it primarily from the sun, and I'm talking about people of African descent here, obviously. Uh, with many of the countries in Africa having great amount of sunlight year round. It's simply a big part of our DNA and a part of, our health, the strength of our health. We obviously we don't work in fields anymore. We're not outside as gatherers of crops. Most of us are sitting inside buildings most of the day. We're not getting close to the same amount of direct and indirect sunlight that we would get, and getting sunlight through a window doesn't count. It has to be direct sunlight. And I'm not talking about sitting there looking directly into the sun, but some kind of being outside 20 to 30 minutes a day minimum and getting sunlight. Nearly half of Americans also don't get enough magnesium, which impairs the ability for your DNA to repair itself and leads to heavily leads to increased risk of cancer. We know we have the problems, but we're not solving the problems. We're medicating the problems. The average American over 65 takes 5 or more prescription drugs every day and have no idea what those drug interactions are doing to them. Typically, the pharmacist didn't know. Typically, your doctor doesn't know. If you have a bad reaction, they simply try to switch medications until hopefully they find something that doesn't give you a bad reaction, but they still would not know what those drug combinations are doing inside your body. So, nutrition, number one. Part of obesity, nutrition. Let's move on. Physical inactivity is as dangerous as smoking. Carries the same risk of smoking, heart disease, and diabetes. On the other hand, going from a low to a normal cardiorespiratory fitness program adds 2 more years to anyone's life expectancy. So if you are letting your physical strength deteriorate by age 50, many Americans have already lost 10% of their peak muscle mass, and by 70, they've lost up to 40%. So this isn't just about looks, it's about survival. Higher muscle mass means improved insulin sensitivity and a 30% lower mortality risk. Grip strength is a stronger predictor of cardiovascular mortality than high blood pressure. I didn't know that. And I come from a family of men, my father's side, that high blood pressure is like the expected outcome of life. Heart disease is the expected outcome of life. Having a stroke, dying of a heart attack, the numbers are massive on my father's side of the family of uncles, cousins, grandfather, I think my great grandfather as well, that it's just around, you just think it's going to happen to you, but you don't know other indicators other than high blood pressure. Obviously, diet plays a big role. In my father, who grew up, of course, eating pork, a lot of salt and meat, lots of salt in food. Also was a heavy smoker. These things affected my family directly, and now I see them affecting people around me in numbers that to me are incomprehensible. Just the stuff that I hear, anecdotal from my friends, from family members of the health outcomes that are happening. So the strongest middle-aged adults have 42% lower dementia risk. That's major. Hip fractures alone kill 20 to 60% of older adults within a year, yet resistance training can lower fracture risk by 30 to 40%. And I was talking to brother Rashid, and a couple of other brothers. I guess it was on Sunday when I decided that I was going to make this presentation, and we were discussing our community. If people in our community are folks that say over the last 5 to 7 years, I've started spending a lot more time around outside of simply Juma on Friday, Talim, and certain other meetings of actually spending time with them, going to breakfast, going to brunch, doing different things, and seeing them outside of the masjid and outside of activities around the masjid. The place I don't see them at the gym. And I go every day. I don't see them at the gym at all. And a lot of them, not everybody, but a lot of my brothers here in Dallas, when I do see them out, they don't look fit. They don't look close to fit. They don't look like they could put in 4 hours of work, banging nails, digging a water line, putting in flooring. They just don't look fit. And I know that's anecdotal, and I want to be wrong about it, but no, I mean I don't see them. I see the Hispanics, I see the Asians, I see the European Americans, I see Christians, African American Christians. I don't see us. And when I'm done with this and we start discussing, I would like for someone to either inform me that I'm wrong or help me understand the why of it, because it's men and women that I don't see. And I see every other demographic except us consistently. High intensity interval training is one of the most effective tools for preventing insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, and chronic disease. Even small bursts of movement, 10 body weight squats every 45 minutes, which is nothing. Get up out of your chair, do 10 squats once an hour. Can regulate blood sugar better than a 30-minute walk. Studies have found that 150 minutes of exercise per week, the minimum amount recommended for all adults, was nearly twice as effective as metformin in preventing type 2 diabetes. And it's amazing. I'd never heard of metformin until I started doing this research. And I think in the last 5 days, I've seen 11 or 12 metformin commercials. Simply, it was probably on, I wasn't paying attention. But obviously, that's a well-known medicine that I don't know about. Wearables like Apple Watches and real-time health trackers are becoming more valuable as artificial intelligence begins to aid physicians in diagnosis and treatment. Some of us, and I see some of us actually wearing some of the watches that help you track your steps, if you know what your blood pressure is, heartbeat, and stuff like that. And that's a start. That's a good start. Yet we continue to draw outdated regulatory lines between medical devices and wellness devices. What if your Apple Watch or any other, this particular study cited Apple, what if your Apple Watch could give you a credible risk assessment showing that your recent jogging habit has measurably reduced your likelihood of a heart attack? As AI-driven systems start making medical decisions better than the average physician, we should continuously reassess whether existing classifications help or hinder access to life-saving technology. The future of preventive health isn't just in hospitals. It could be on our wrist, it could be in our pockets, it could be at our fingertips. So as we start thinking about solutions, they're obvious. Nutrient deficiencies need to have the same kind of public awareness efforts made about them that made smoking socially unacceptable. In other words, we should be making as big a fuss about all these toxins that are in our food as we made about smoking back in the 60s and 70s and 80s. Because it seems to me from the research that this stuff that they're putting in our food, and we're not going to touch on micronutrients tonight. That's a whole nother show way down the road. I won't bore you guys too much with this mess. But the stuff that they're putting in our food is seemingly worse than nicotine and tobacco, and just as addictive. And nobody's raising a peep about it. Studies show supplementing things like vitamin D, omega-3, magnesium that we mentioned, uh, with, let's say, just with vitamin D, 4,000 daily units reversed biological age by nearly 2 years. So we're looking at some solutions as far as getting our community moving, getting our community involved in some kind of resistance training, getting our community knowledgeable about the benefit of supplements. And I'm not saying just any supplements. Don't go to the GNC and buy anything that they have. All of this takes some research. And obviously in some cases it does take resources, financial resources that are beyond some of us. So we have to look at some solutions for helping our community actually be able to afford good health. Whether that comes as a result of us having fresh fruits and vegetables, flash frozen vegetables and things like that stored at our masjids that can be accessed, or buying programs so we can buy supplements as a group, and make them accessible to the community, either on a daily basis, weekly basis, whatever the case may be, to help us out on that. We institute dietary programs. We have people in our community that have this knowledge. Dietary programs within our communities that give guidelines to everybody who worships there, based on issues that they're dealing with, based on their age, based on height and weight, of eating dietary programs that they go on that are going to assist them in living a healthier, more disease resistant life that adds to their longevity. Um, I'm going to stop talking so that we can discuss. I will say that I have the studies that I reviewed, I put them all in the chat. There are 9 different studies. They're not all based here in the United States, but they are exhaustive studies. I want to say that at least 8 out of the 9 of them are peer reviewed. It's possible. I think I may have, because one is only an abstract, that I may have missed whether or not it had been peer reviewed. But there's really good data in there, especially for our sisters, because obesity is one of the strong indicators of any type of breast cancer and renal issues, kidney issues, in female population. So I'm going to stop and open it up for questions and conversations from those that have joined.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam,
The
bro.
Sharif, how are you?
I'm doing good. All praise be to Allah. How's everyone else this evening?
Doing well,
Assalamu
feeling
alaikum,
good.
brother.
Walaikum assalam.
Alhamdulillah.
Mhm. Well, have you heard of seed nutrition?
Well, here's my thing. I'm not really interested in pushing any brands. I'm not interested in pushing any non-scientifically reviewed formulas or ideas. The problem is so acute that the people who have been trained in this, who work every day at it, and amazingly, as I look back into some of these studies, have been screaming at us for 20, 25 years or longer. We're going to have to start to stand on their shoulders or piggyback off of them, because there is a mountain of disinformation. And I will say that there are products and ideas out there that are worthy. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. And I think individuals like us, given data that we can trust, that will make good decisions, especially about things like supplements. The more information that we have, the better decisions that we'll make about things like supplements. Where I don't think we have any friction is when we're talking about whole foods and the need for us to have more whole foods in our diet, starting with halal meats and vegetables that are grown without chemicals, preservation of vegetables that is done without chemicals, the use of, if we're going to make tea, that we make it without the use of tea bags, which carry micronutrients or those microplastics in the tea bag that get into our blood system. And it's an expensive, it's a somewhat more expensive step to take to do those things, because it takes you constantly having to make choices today about what's going into your body, because you're not going to be able to stop things for 5 years in your cupboard and be considered a healthy eater in many cases. Now, flash frozen is a whole different thing. And I am a largely in favor of flash frozen vegetables. Mm-hmm. And if you're able to keep them frozen, they do have a fairly long lifespan. You can stop them so that you're not running to the market every day or every other day. And there are other types of food, especially like lentils, all of our beans and things like that, that you can store safely for periods of time. Imam Talib, you unmuted, thinking you.
I did.
Okay,
only,
please go ahead.
Yeah, only to comment. Only to comment that I think you are absolutely correct in the financial assessment that it is going to cost more, but it is significantly less expensive than a hospital stay. So you may be paying more on the front end, but on the back end, you're going to come out on top because there will be less visits to the hospital, less medication. Um, what you mentioned about vitamin D cannot be stressed enough. And that's vitamin D3.
Correct.
There is, and we've spoken to physicians about this, they don't learn anything about vitamin D of any significance when they are in med school. In fact, I suggest that everyone on this call and everyone that you know get tested for vitamin D and watch the resistance or be mindful of the resistance that your own doctor is going to give to you. They may even ask you, why do you want that? When the results come back, don't accept language from them that says, yeah, we got your vitamin D back, it's fine. That don't mean nothing. What you want to know is what the number is. There is a corresponding number that goes with vitamin D. I'm an advocate for it because it literally brought my daughter back to life when she had a deficiency that was so low. When we asked them what the number was, they said there was none. And I watched someone who could barely walk because of low vitamin D and calcium, that the moment they gave it to her, within hours, she had sprung up out the bed like a dried flower that had just received water. For men, if your number is anything below 30, you should be asking your doctor for 50,000 IU that you take once a week, and understanding that the number 30 is not a magic number for African American men.
Right.
30 is the number for white men.
Right.
They've only studied white men. Now,
Well, that's not true. We actually do have a study now on
okay.
African American males.
Oh, good. Okay.
I want to say it was out of Yale Medical about 7 years ago.
All right.
But what you're saying is so is so dead on. And when you said the 50,000 IU, it brought back to memory. And I'm not going to say her name, but it's somebody. It's an African American female that I know quite well, who went to her doctor, and she's an African American professional. She works about 70 hours a week. And she's grew up in the country. She's always eaten relatively healthy, though I cannot ever talk her out of pork chops. To this day, I can't get her to stop eating pork chops. Only bad part of her diet, really. But she was feeling lethargic. She was losing energy, and she is early 60s at this time. And she was feeling lethargic. She went to the doctor. They do all the blood tests. Doctor asked her about diet, asked her about supplementation, whatever. This particular doctor is Asian. The doctor suggested vitamin D3 because, believe it or not, Asians have the same issue with D3 as Africans. They have an acute need for it just like we do. So she gave her the 50,000 IU shot. And it literally changed everything about her work energy, life force, everything. She now swears by it. So what you're saying is 100% true.
Yes. And last thing I'll say about vitamin D, just as a reminder to us, during the COVID period, whenever a celebrity, I'm speaking of, I'm thinking right now about Cuomo, who was used to be a newscaster on CNN.
CNN, right?
Right. Yeah. He contacted COVID. The first thing they did was to give him a vitamin D cocktail. They did the same thing with Trump when he got COVID. There was a cocktail of vitamin D, vitamin C that they pumped into them. There were those of us, I'm amongst them, that we discovered later when my family took this, I think they call it some sort of antigen test.
Mm-hmm.
They told us we had COVID, and it was in December of 2019. But it affected us mildly, everybody in the household. But we were mildly affected by it, and we attribute it to our doses of vitamin D that we were already taking. So our system was kind of built up. So I've got a couple more comments I want to make, but I'm going to let someone else step up in here.
May I come back again?
Yes, sir. Please.
I mentioned something that very few of us know about, called seed nutrition. Everything starts from the seed. Is that correct? Everything starts from the seed. We are number one in the world with seed nutrition. One of the products you spoke about, D3. We have a D3 spray. Just spray 4 drops, squirts of VC of D3. We have other products. Why I'm saying this because I know I said something that many of you probably have never heard of seed nutrition. What is it about? Where does it come from? What is seed nutrition? I just actually come back again because I would think someone would say, what is this seed nutrition? We have heard nothing about it. We in 45 countries already in about 11 years and growing. It's in Africa, Asia, all the countries, like I said, over 45 countries in less than 11 years with no broadcasting, no paying anyone for advertisement and all of that. Just go on your computer when you get an opportunity online. Just put in seed nutrition or RAIN, RAININTL, RAININTL. That'll take you to the website, and you'll find out much more about seed nutrition. Thank you for taking my comments.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Here, and I thank you for. I've heard your public service announcements on CWSC AM 360
Alhamdulillah.
about the product. What I don't want is to make this program about people promoting their product or their company, because there are millions of them. And just like the company that you mentioned to us right now, there's another million of them who are in 67 countries selling the same products and touting them as being better than yours. And they don't advertise like Amway didn't advertise. It's word of mouth and me recruiting you to come and sell the product and all that type of thing. And I have nothing against it. We're talking life and death of people in our community. And if there are products that can help them and they come from reputable companies like Seed, and I'm assuming since you're affiliated with it, it's a reputable company, then without any desire for profit, that information needs to be made available with all the data, all the research that's been done to our community so that we can discuss it and we can make the best choices about those things that we are going to share with each other. Because once again, I don't know the prices of any of your products that are a part of that. But one of the things that I do know is that we have seniors in our community who struggle with their health. And anything that we can do with them, and again, I'll go to the other end of the spectrum with our very young people who are just starting out on their health journey, of introducing them to greens, broccoli, whether we want to call it organic or whatever, but it's not grown with chemicals and things like that. And having those type things available, halal meats available in our masjids as supplement. We're not trying to feed the world. Our community is not wealthy enough to feed everybody in our community. But if we can begin introducing more nutritious food choices and supplementing food choices, and also aiding in the, I don't know, what do I want to call it? If we buy, it could be from Rain or Seed or whatever, whoever, it doesn't matter to me. If we buy products, supplements that are needed by our community, and we have them there at the bastion, and we know individuals that have health issues, and I'm saying we get to the people that need it first. Doesn't mean that everybody doesn't need it. We get to the people that need it first to start helping them have better health outcomes. That we all contribute towards something along those lines. Have people who are in our community that are reputable, that have a health background, and there's plenty to have conversations, bring in health professionals to have conversations with individuals in our community about their health and things that they can do with supplementation and diet change and caloric intake and exercise that is going to improve their health. I don't care how that happens, as long as we are affecting that in a way that preserves the capital and dignity of the community with no profit motive in mind. None.
I don't mean to interrupt you there, but we need money.
We make money. Well, let's
we-
make money. Let's make money on other people.
Could I say
Let-
this? Could I say this? We
Sure.
need health and wealth. We got people in this community that really need their health improved, and they need wealth, and we need wealth. So
You know what I agree with
no,
you. I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you. So let's become like the immigrants. Let's go in their neighborhood and sell to them and bring our money back to us.
That's exactly what I'm telling us to do. That's exactly
So
what I'm saying to do.
Muhammad Sharif,
Yes.
Sharif, all I'm saying is that when we set up these programs in our community, in our masjids, that what we bring to our masjid comes purely from the heart with no profit incentive whatsoever. What we bring to us, we bring with no profit incentive. Go make money off those other people. And when you get your money and you're going to help to supplement what's going on in our community, improve health outcomes in our community, you do it without any profit incentive. You just come with baskets full of everything that you can bring that's going to make for a healthier ummah.
No, everything is based in profit.
Not everything is based in profit. A lot of things are based in love. You need to check that out.
Oh, we know that. We know that.
Then say it. Then let us say that.
Alhamdulillah.
Because we can I can go get profit from those other folks. If I have 100 clients, 99 of them are not Muslim. That's all I'm saying, is that when we decide to do something like this, if we ever get to that point, whether, and Rabbani does it when he goes to Ethiopia. Those you know that Imam Rabbani, when he goes to Ethiopia, he asks us to send vitamins and different things with him. You know, and I might buy $50 worth of, you know, multivitamins, vitamin D, you know, some vitamin C from, you know, companies that I think are at least halfway reputable, for him to take over there. I didn't give them to him for him to go sell them to the kids. I'm giving from my heart because I want those children to have better health outcomes. And a lot of those children he's going in and he's visiting with are cancer patients. Well, we got people in our community that have health issues. Some of them are young enough that their health issues can be corrected in a very short period of time if we could get them on the right track.
Right.
But it takes let me say this real quick. I was at a Black History Month event on Saturday, and it was probably about 67%. Our Ummah was there. There were Christians there. There were people who were not Christian or Muslim. I don't know exactly what their no Sikhs, anything like that. I don't know these individuals, but they didn't identify as either Christian or Muslim. But anyway, long story short, bean pies. I love bean pies. And I buy the little small bean pies. I have ever since I started going to masjids. $1.50, whatever they're selling for. So you guys need to hit me over the head with a club because I refuse to pay $5 for one. If you tell me that's the going price for the small single serve bean pie, then I'm going to be shamed and I will correct myself from now on. Can anybody tell me that that is the going price for a single serve bean pie? No takers? Nobody says that's the price?
Yeah, what did you say they were selling it for?
$5.
Yeah,
You
I would tell you that $5 or more.
really?
Yeah,
For a small one, little hand size that you pay 99
yeah,
cents for a pecan pie in the grocery store. That size. You hold it in your hand.
right.
They
I
charge
mean,
$5 for that now
and or more.
or more.
Yeah, and and I've left it there.
No, and that's look, okay. So if the ingredients, and I do really want to get hung up on this, but my thing is this: when we come to our community to help our community, we don't come with a profit motive that I'm going to extract money from our community. And we're off the subject of health, but when we're thinking about doing things about helping our community and this health thing, that kick that I'm on because I'm getting older rather than younger, when we're doing this, I want us to do it like we're giving zakat. A sadaqah, you're just giving. Nothing's, all the blessings are coming back to you in multitudes. But it's, it's like when the grocery store says you can buy a bag of flash frozen broccoli flores 2 for 1 and you get a freebie. If that happens often enough, we should have a freezer at the masjid and somebody should make a stop and donate that bag of broccoli to the masjid. When they're saying, when Kroger tells me I can buy 5 and the next one's free, then that free can, and I'm not advocating canned food, but I'm just using that as an example, that can could go in the masjid for somebody who's needy or who needs that more than they need a bag of potato chips.
Well, it all starts with our diet. That's where the problem starts, is with our diet.
Yes, sir.
A lot of those canned products, they got so much sodium in them. Read the ingredients in those
We all
cans,
do. That's the thing. We're all reading the ingredients.
but we are not practicing.
We're not practicing.
If we are reading it, why are we continuing to buy those canned goods? With
Because
sodium
they are inexpensive, relatively inexpensive. One,
Look at the diet. Look at the
I
ingredients in it.
know
Look
we
at
were
the
talking
ingredients.
about this. We know this.
The ingredients are really not the issue. The biggest issue is a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I can think of maybe four to five canned goods that I have consistently in my pantry. Black beans, garbanzo beans,
Mm-hmm.
fire
Mm-hmm.
roasted tomatoes. I can think of those things like right now. And
Mm-hmm.
from time to time, my wife, who is much more diligent than I am, in fact, pretty much anything I know, I learned from her. So she will tell me not to buy this product anymore because it has something in it that she doesn't want to consume, and she doesn't want the family to consume.
Mm-hmm.
It also comes down to us being willing to accept knowledge coming from other people that you can trust. So, for
Right.
example, I just learned this. I didn't know this. I knew part of it. No, let me change that. I knew part of it, but I didn't know all of it. We walk into the produce section and we're doing, we think we're doing something magnanimous because we going in, we getting apples, we getting pears, all kinds of fruit and vegetables. But when you look at, everything is done by code now. So when you look at your fruits and vegetables, all of them are going to have a sticker on them.
Right.
And it'll have a code associated with it. So I just learned that any produce that begins with a 3 means that that produce has been genetically modified. Anything that begins with a 4 means that it has been treated with some sort of pesticide or whatever it is they spray on
Right.
fruit and vegetables. Anything that begins with a 9 means that it's organic. And the likelihood of it having been sprayed with something, or, unless they're just mislabeling it on purpose, you know that it has not been genetically modified. One other point I want to make to us, and this is more based on Quran, that made me stop buying certain fruits in particular. Where Allah says in Quran that everything comes from a seed. So why is it when you walk into most grocery stores now, you can't find anything but seedless grapes? I don't know. I don't know of a grocery store. Now, I know there may be some in the South, but in my area, Washington, metropolitan area, Washington, Maryland, Virginia, during the watermelon season, you've got to buy watermelons off the street because stores are only selling seedless watermelons.
That's right.
So a navel orange is not an orange. There's no seeds in it. And there are other little small things that we can do to start to protect our health. Should you walk into a grocery store, I'm talking about through the front door, and you look in front of you, to the right of you, and to the left of you, and you don't see produce, you should turn around and leave that store. Because that's not what they're pushing. And so I've seen, I spoke about this. There is a grocery store that recently opened up in a primarily Hispanic community, Lidl's. They're all over the world. When you ride by that Lidl's and look in the window, all you see are chips and what do they call them things? The cheese curls. They got their beer and wine in the window. So it's almost like they are promoting, don't come in here if you're looking for something healthy. We don't have health. That's not what we're trying to do. So
No.
we've gotten lulled into this process
Yes, sir.
that
Yes, sir.
that is not helping our situation because they've made convenience food convenient.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
they've done that, but they've done something even more evil.
Huh, yeah. Tell me about the prescription drugs that they're
Well, I
advertising
mean,
on television now
before you ever get to prescription
with
drugs,
everybody smiling and grinning.
yeah, you have prescription food
Huh.
Yes.
because the addiction starts with the chemicals that are in your food.
Alhamdulillah. Now you get it.
That's where the addiction starts,
Now you get
and
it.
it affects the dopamine levels and the fact that you need more and more of this particular type of food, this particular type of taste, everything for your dopamine levels, your happiness level to kick up, and it affects everything else in your life, starting from what you are eating as a 1 or 2 year old. And every one of us that has children has probably been guilty
Yes,
of
sir.
giving them something that makes them happy so we can have 5 minutes of peace.
Alhamdulillah. Bro, I'm telling you, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Rashid Salam. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You know, all the components have been covered. And one thing I think, Edward, I love the way you led into this, looking for the means and ways for us to take care of ourselves. And that magic word is just writing throughout this program called education, education, and education. You know, and the research and the data has already been done on all the particular things that we're talking about. And one of the key elements here in my research, and I ever did some phenomenal research as I'm hearing them speak, uh, you know, back in 1936, they came up with what they were going to do to purify, edify, whatever they're going to do with the food. Food is really the poison. There's no doubt about that. In 1936, they had made a determination that uh, the soil that we grow our food in, I'm going with my brother Muhammad, mentioned seeds, and that goes to the genetically altered seeds and all those other seeds. But if the soil is depleted of all this mineral content to grow that seed and make sure that seed is rooted in basic structure as that cell of that particular seed is being grown, whether it be fruits, vegetables, or whatever it may be, if the land is deficient, then you're going to have a deficient product. And as old saying goes, sick soil, sick plant, sick animals, sick people. You can't get around it. That is the basic format for all the research we need to do. So our biggest issue here, according to what I'm hearing and the evidence is being presented, we need to get to the point where we can begin to educate our community, not just the Muslim community, but our community, period, on food nourishment, diet nourishment, you know, and how our body functions and how our body works. Well, what's in the food? That's what the question I always ask. What are you eating? If it's deficient of all its nutrients, and our cells need the nutrients to make our body function in the way it's supposed to, then we find ourselves in a very bad situation, health wise, mental wise, and so forth and so on. So the education in understanding how the body works, what the body needs, the vitamin D's, the B12, B6, B3, where does it come from? Well, it's supposed to come from our food that we eat. And at the same time, if that nutrient is not in that food, even from the time our mothers are growing our children, if she's not eating right, what is the baby pulling on? The calcium, the magnesiums, the vitamin D's, the threes, and the B12. We really have to begin to do some serious research on how to treat this serious problem that we have
Well,
called.
I think we've done the research, Rashid. I think the research is
That's what I'm
there.
saying. The research is done. I'm talking about
I think
how do we deliver the
the
research
practice,
to our community?
the
How do we deliver
practice.
the research to our community? You know,
So in our masjids, where we have captive audiences
mhm.
most of the time, our masjids have to become more than just places that people go for Juma on
That's what I'm
Friday,
saying. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
and a talim that basically mirrors the Juma on Friday. So one of the things we're not doing is in our communities, we're actually not talking about these issues
Absolutely.
in large bodies
Absolutely. I agree.
with handouts that
Yes, sir.
people can take with them,
Mm-hmm.
with information on diet plans. Try this for a week. These particular types of meats, these particular vegetables, and be able to help some of these individuals in our community that we know cannot afford to go out and go to
Absolutely.
the outer ring of the grocery store where the fresh, vegetables, the good vegetables and things are. Not everybody can afford to go do that.
That's true.
So in some instances, we have to develop programs within our communities to, I don't care if it's once or twice a week, to make available for individuals a serving or two of healthy foods, and hopefully induce them to make, financial decisions that allow them to do more of it on their own, so that it becomes a habit for them, a different habit, addiction than the one that they're currently on.
You
Because
know,
you can't take anybody away from addiction without filling that hole. You got to put something in that hole.
there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. So that's what I'm saying. Just knowing what foods to eat, and if you do get them, what do you do to detox the food, because that's necessary. And our bodies require 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 3 fatty acids daily just to be functioning properly. So that education, what you're talking about, it's the type of information we're going to have to begin to present with documented data. And we have the data, as you said before, we have the data.
The data's out there.
Yeah. So what do we know about neurons and neurotransmitters and enzymes? We don't.
I'm
So
I'm
that's
with
the,
I'm
that's the
with
focus I'm with you.
Rashid.
Yeah.
Rashid, I'm with Imam Talib on this though.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put any neutrinos on my plate. Just tell me it's collard
Absolutely.
greens.
Yeah.
Okay? Tell me
Yeah.
collard greens are good for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I eat some collard greens.
Yes, sir.
I think there's a person in every community that wants to know the every bit of the science.
A bit. Yes.
But the majority of us just want to know that we have healthy food on our plate,
I agree with you. But
right?
that's what comes from the soil and the food that you eat. You can eat some collard green, they might have nothing in it. So you got to know how to cook them. The science of what you're talking about is absolutely phenomenal. I agree with you. I'm not negating anything you're saying, but the green fruits are, I mean, green vegetables are what we should be eating. But
I have not yet run into a black woman that didn't know how to cook collard.
wait, now I'm not saying the cooking, but guess what? If they're grown in soil that has no benefit, what are you eating? So
I
I think Talib said it
trust.
best. The labels. Every single fruit and vegetable in all the stores have A, B, C, D levels of nutrition. And I think he just kind of shared some of those things with you. Now you can cook
Right.
some. I'm not saying they're not gonna help, but you still need to know, certain things that we need to share with especially our elderly people who have eaten bad food forever, to let
Let's
them know
feed
that,
them.
yeah, I agree. I mean, I
Let's
have no
just
problem with you
let's
saying.
just feed them. And in the feeding of them and them becoming healthier, we let them know how that happened. It's because you're eating organic greens or greens that were grown this way, or halal meat
Yes,
that came
I'm,
from this particular source and all that thing.
absolutely.
Let's help the patient first.
Yes. Somebody got
Let's
to know
help
how
the
to talk
patient.
to. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but there's certain little components that has to be taught. Whether you eat greens or not, you got to still teach people how to be healthy, how does their body work, and why you need these particular things to eat these particular things to make your body function in the manner that it's supposed to, because we have all these cells in our body. We have all these components in our biome, just like high blood pressure and diabetes. Whoever thought high blood pressure was congestive heart failure? Nobody ever thinks about that. Low blood pressure. You having congestive heart failure. Diabetes is liver conditions. These are little things that will help you know what foods to eat, so you don't have to experience some of the diseases that we do have. So I'm with you. The education let's start somewhere. Basic education, basic good food, but at the same time, you still have to know how to share with your children and your grandchildren. That education, that requirement that's essential, which is education about how this thing works, how soil works, soil maintenance, soil deficiency. That stuff is really important. Now, in our time, we may not have time for it, but our children sure can correct some of the things that's going on in their lives today for rational behavior and so forth and so on. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. It's just still education. We can't get away from it. You're not gonna ever get away from that. But I'm
How
in
many
agreement.
of you? How many of you on the call tonight have a gym membership?
I do.
If you don't have a gym membership, how many of you do something else every day that is a physical activity that requires that resistance is a part of that? It could even be just body weight exercises like push-ups or pull-ups. So
Yeah.
Omar does.
And
Anybody?
I have a gym membership.
Okay. Anybody? Mueller?
Well, I know
So
you
as
know,
as I
If
know
you
we
don't
have a
see
lot of
hands going up,
seniors on the program here, and a lot of us are not going to a gym. A lot of our health is not up to going to a gym, having a gym card. We're not
Well,
going to gym cards. I'm just telling you the reality. You got people in this community, in our community, 60, 70, 80 years, they're not going to no gym to do no push-ups and all that. That's
would you do
real.
it? Would you do it at home?
yeah, there's some
Yes.
options at home.
If we do have a home best we
Well,
can.
that was the other thing
That's
I
what he
said.
said.
Do you
Yeah.
do you do the body weight exercises like squats and push-ups and pull-ups at home?
Most of us don't. We
Or
can't.
no, we don't.
isometrics.
No, and we don't do it because it really ain't important. It's not important because every day that the law wakes you up, you think you got another day that you can get by with the same stuff you've been doing for the last however many years you've been doing until something motivates you to do something else.
Yeah.
So for over 4 decades, my wife has run a natural hair care business that morphed into her becoming a naturopathic doctor that deals primarily with clients who have experienced hair loss. And even though she's retired from the service part of the business, she still offers these things to women. And the one thing that I see that her and I talk about is that when women start to lose their hair because of certain vitamin deficiencies and could be medication or some sort of abuse, they are more willing to listen to her about changing their diet because they
Yes.
don't want to lose their hair.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now they
Important.
motivated.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned something earlier. Um, um, in fact, I thought it was brilliant. Um, you mentioned something about what if there was an Apple Watch that could tell you when you do certain exercises, after you get your steps in, after you do anything in order to improve your physical condition, that watch would give you some indications as to how you have improved your health.
Mm-hmm.
If they had such a watch, I would go get it because I'm that kind of person. I want to be, people are so that we want instant gratification. That's why they have the Ozempics of the world.
Right.
right? Because people want to lose weight, but they don't want to go through the process. And what is this? Side effects? Don't even worry about that. We gonna we I want to lose weight. If we were to treat our health and be more cognizant of it, like we're trying to be cognizant of our credit score. You know, you want to buy a house, and you know your credit score needs to be what, a minimum of 740, 750, you know, for in order for the stars to align, for you to be eligible for you know, for a loan, for a
Right.
mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
You will work, you will work yourself to the bone. You will do all kinds of research. You will call everybody you can to help you get your credit score where it needs to be. Because damn it, that's important.
Yeah.
But every morning that Allah wakes you up, you think you got another day to get it right. And you don't.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So where the value is going to come in, like everything else, when we're on these calls and we're talking about money, and then we start talking about death, all of these things. Now we're talking about health. These are multifaceted. You know, it's like a onion. You peel back one layer and there's another layer there. I
Right.
would I, One of the things that I keep thinking about when we're talking about all these foods, most of the people that we know either can't cook or don't cook. I wouldn't eat anything they prepare because they don't know how to cook.
It's
And
key.
and I know this because we've held over the years, we've held cooking sessions. I took one of my commercial buildings, let my wife use it, and she held cooking classes every week for women. And I mean, we were going out renting banquet tables, setting the table up with cloths and that, and they did this every week. And then the men said, well, what about us? So she did one for them. Now, her and her associate that she's been working with, they're coming up with this new program. It's called Build a Meal. And they're literally going to merge the health and the preparation of food because it's not as difficult as people think. And Rashid is right. This is part of that multi-level thing. Sebi, when he was alive, he talked about not just getting vegetables, but getting vegetables close to the soil that we would find in Africa. So that's why he moved down to Honduras and had the farm and the alkaline water and the
Yes,
village
sir.
that he actually built, where people came there and I mean, literally cured them of diseases that the whole world thinks you still got to contribute because you got leukemia or you got cancer or you got high blood pressure. He was able
Yes.
to he was able to cure AIDS.
Yeah, that's right, bro.
He was able to
Right.
cure AIDS. And
It's about blood.
The state of New York sued him and he won.
Yeah,
So so he was talking about the soil piece. And
that's
and
it.
and 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 he was right. But you know, most of our folk can't cook. I mean,
Right.
I've got a limited repertoire of foods that I can prepare, but I'm not going to starve, and I am going to eat healthy, and I could fix food for you that you would like. I could teach somebody else how to do what it is that I do.
Mm,
And here's the part that's missing. The reason that I'm able to do this is because my mother raised 3 children to be independent. My mother went to college. And if I told you what she majored in college, you wouldn't believe it. I had never heard of it. I mean, I'm older now. I thought it was a thing when she told me as a child what she majored in. But if I told somebody that now, they would laugh me out of the room. My mother majored in home economics.
Well, that's a bomb.
Okay? At Tougaloo College in Mississippi. She majored in home economics. I saw her transcript.
I got an A in that in high school.
Look, we all learned how to make jelly donuts and
You know,
JB used too much baking soda and almost set the room on fire. Damn thing exploded.
yeah.
So, but the point I'm making to us is that what we're talking about now, some of us, we just gone. We too far gone. I mean, we would be, I think what Rashid mentioned, we would be better off doing. So in my household, I got a lot of nieces and nephews. And I've got a nephew today who's in his, he was born in 86, so however old he is. He will come by my house just to get a salad because he remembered when he was coming up as a boy, my wife and I, for his lunch in elementary school, we would always put a salad in his, and he loves that. So all of them here, they know they will come by. They want to come over and have dinner, have brunch, have breakfast, because they know when they come to this house, they're going to get some healthy food and they love it.
Yes, sir.
And that's what we try to pass on, to them, because their heads are not as hard.
Imam Talib.
Yes, sir.
Imam Talib. If you and your wife decided that once a month you would do one of your food preparation, cooking kind of classes at the masjid in the whatever special use building or whatever they call them, do you think anybody would come?
Nope. They would not. And the reason, and let me say this, I'm somewhat jaded. So what is it they say? Take this with a grain of salt. I've been an entrepreneur for over 50 years. None of my businesses would be successful if I had to depend on Muslims. And I'm talking about a business where Muslims needed what it is that I had. So what has the school that I came out of was the one that taught us to do for self and kind. That's what inspired me. But our people, and Allah says this in Quran, because I want to focus on what God says about this. He says in Quran that they didn't begin to differ with each other until knowledge came to them. You remember reading that?
Oh, yes. Yes, sir.
So we can have this discussion just like we're having right now. And we may want to take this show on the road. Take it to the Time to Be Grateful. When they were doing the national convention. Could you imagine a convention that there was nothing but...
It doesn't come up when I try to raise my hand on my phone.
No, sister Sharifa, we can see your hand. We were just waiting on
Oh,
Imam
okay. So
Talib
let her
for a second.
let her go ahead. Let her
Sister
go ahead.
Sharifa,
Oh,
if
assalamu
you,
alaikum. Right.
wa alaikum salam.
Oh, I'm sorry. On my phone
No,
it
no,
didn't
you're
look like
fine.
my hand was up.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. So what I wanted to say is far as having professionals available to the community, that the Muslim Health Consortium has been very beneficial because they started when COVID was very prevalent, and they continue to give presentations on Zoom every first Sunday at Mosque's first Sunday. And
Yeah.
Dr. Mikhail Ramadan is the head of the committee, and he has other professionals working with him. And
That's,
I can give their email address if anyone would like to contact them.
put it in the
Yeah,
chat.
put it in the
Okay,
chat, and
I
I
can
am
put it
I
in
am
the chat.
familiar. I'm familiar with them.
Alhamdulillah.
What I am interested in, because of my observation, and they are anecdotal, they are my observations. This is not science. Is the fact that within our masjids we have health issues that can be resolved with education and practice.
Oh, no doubt about
So
it.
what I'm advocating is that at every masjid, not just on first Sunday at mosque's, but on a regular basis at every masjid within our association, that information and assistance be made available to people to help them have better health outcomes. And I don't, obviously, this is not something that's going to happen overnight. It may not happen in a year and a half, but it's something I think we have to start working towards. I mean, if you knew, if you were on metformin or whatever that diabetes medicine is, yeah,
Horrifying. It's
metformin,
horrifying.
metformin, and
I'm
you
telling you.
knew that 150 minutes a week of strenuous physical activity, and when I say strenuous, that's on a level for you. Your strenuous may not be my strenuous, because I work out every day and I work out heavy and hard. That may not be you, but whatever strenuous for you, that 150 hours a week would get you off that medication. If you knew that, if you knew that adding more vitamin D3 to your diet, if you're an African American or Asian, adding magnesium to your diet, making sure that you got enough omega-3 oils in your body every day, that they would allow you to stop taking pharmaceutical concoctions for your health. If you knew that in advance, I'm sure you would do it. Well, the studies are saying that those things will help you reach those goals. Now it comes down to the question of whether or not you trust the source. We have people in our community, Rashid, Imam Talib has spoken, Muhammad Sharif has spoken, Brother Sharif, about solutions that they have come upon, diet wise and otherwise, with supplements that would be beneficial to people in our community. And me personally, I don't think anybody's past the benefit point. If you give me a 78-year-old with type 2 diabetes who's overweight, and I can do anything to help them add 2 to 3 healthier years to their life, I think that's worthwhile.
No doubt. And maybe we can, Sister Sharif, maybe we can make this presentation or just a statement to them. Will they be willing to contact each of the masters and get one representative to help put on those types of programs, which we need to do? Just like the word obesity. Well, obesity is too much body fat. Well, where does the body fat come from? It comes from having an acidity body, too much acid in your body. So your fat globules turn around and cover up your organs. So you're imploding from the inside instead of uh, knowing how to do that. So that education, is that what you're saying? Metformin is one of the most dangerous drugs in the marketplace. It is absolutely dangerous. We should not even be being close to it. So the education that he's talking about on how we can take this to our centers and our communities, this is an opportunity to start cleaning our blood. What does cleaning your blood do for you? We don't know anything about those types of things. Eating good food will help you clean your blood, such as collard greens and things of that nature. It helps you flush, and there's certain foods we just can't eat anymore. So this education is real simple. It's nothing complicated about what's being said tonight. It's nothing complicated about obesity. It's just knowing what it is, the root cause of it, and how to resolve it. And that comes through us beginning to approach this with a new level of understanding. I know Tyler, but even Tyler said, if you put this on, nobody will come. Give me one. Because one knows another person. When someone can go back and bear witness to something and share with their friends, that geometric marketing takes place. Well, I'm gonna tell my friend, they're gonna tell their friend, and we have to do this. Our people are sick. We're dying from things. We shouldn't be suffering from high blood pressure and diabetes and congestive heart failure, liver condition. We should not be. So that means we have to do what? Come up with a term that we can use that's relevant to those individuals who have that need. But it has to start somewhere, as it was said. How long does it take? I don't know, but we got to do something. So I just wanted to say that. So, Sister, I'll be happy to talk with you, and please send that email address to uh, the Muslim Health Consortium, because I was familiar with them in during COVID as well. But nobody ever told us 2 years after COVID that they came up with one particular green leafy vegetable that will resolve that virus called broccoli. If you cook it a certain way, broccoli would knock COVID out the box. But how many of us knew that after they took the jab, as they say? But broccoli was one of the preventive measures that we could have used. If you cook it a scientific way, a certain way, it would eliminate viruses out of your body and the lactic acid out of your body. So that's the education that we need, and things of that nature. I just want to say that. Thank you so much.
In the chat, along with the information that Sister Sharifa shared with us, also shared 9 different studies that I pulled my information from. And these are studies that are done around the world. They're not just done on Europeans, they're done on um, African Americans, Asians, people of different backgrounds, because you need to be able to do a Venn diagram of causes of disease and things like that to see where research needs to go, where research dollars need to go, where it's going to affect the most people. And this is part of the reasons that universities and other institutions try to conduct studies around the world on groups. The first study that I encountered was actually done by primarily a bunch of Islamic uh, scientists and doctors, and it had more to do with kidney failure and things of that nature, and the role of obesity. Very, very, very in-depth study, and I mean, just the information in there. If you read the entire study, which if you're like me, you're going to understand about maybe 60% of it. So I usually just read the abstract. I get enough information from the abstract. The uh, the role of obesity in cancer is just it's mind boggling. It's mind boggling to me as I heard someone say, and this is a YouTube video that I didn't include, that a 25 to 30 pound weight loss in the average American would probably extend their life 4 to 8 years. That's a lot.
That's what people need to hear. That's what they need to hear. I mean, that, you know, and if they don't listen to you or listen to us or believe the science behind it, then it's on them. I mean, but I do agree, and I was just looking, you know, to see. This is I want to take back what I said about people not going to respond at the masjid. What I should have said was, any masjid is going to have to be taken along in baby steps.
Yes, sir.
And because I just, while you all were talking, I just went and took a look back at Masjid Muhammad's like weekly newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
And there's at least, I would tell you, there are at least 3 to 4 things that the masjid offers consistently. That is, you know, like on a weekly basis or whenever these different committees meet, that are associated with health. So the idea of making having like doing the same sort of cooking things that we did when I was in between tenants at a commercial building, that could work. But again, it would have to be in baby steps. And I think that this would have to be something that people would pay for. The benefit that they would get from it is not only learning how to cook, but one of the more enjoyable things about what the program does is it allows you to sit there and break bread with each other, because you get to eat what you've just prepared. All right. And that's what's needed. Breakfast in the morning is not you opening up a pack of Quaker oatmeal, pouring some hot water on it, and thinking that you're eating healthy.
It's true.
When the easiest thing for you to do is to go to the bulk section of a grocery store, get yourself some oats, cook it. You can make a big pot of it, eat what you can, put the rest of it up, and that can be your breakfast for a couple of days, because you can warm it up. Put some berries on it, put some pecans on it, put some coconut on it, maple syrup. I mean, try to get away from the brown sugars. Right now, you can get white grapefruits. I get 5 or 6 of them every time I go to the store, while I can get them. Because in another month or so, I won't be able to get white grapefruits. Now, they keep pink grapefruits in there, and I still ain't quite figured out what that is. I mean, only, and I'm saying this only because I'm in my 70s. So I remember,
Yes, sir.
going, my mother taking me to the store. My mother took me to the store because she wasn't going to pay no boy 25 cents to take her groceries to the bag when she got a grown son with her. I mean, 10 years old, 9, 10 years old. I was big enough to be able to carry some bags to the car. She wasn't going to pay nobody to do that. So she took me to the store with her. And I never heard of seedless grapes until I became an adult. Never. And I didn't know about, when she did buy pink grapefruits, I thought it was a treat. Because most of the time we had white grapefruits. And we were always encouraged to, what was the thing she used to say? We wanted to be members of the Clean Plate Club. I don't know if you all ever heard of that or not, but it was an encouragement on our part to finish everything that we fixed, that she fixed.
My mother would simply tell us that you better eat all that food because there's some starving kids in somewhere.
That was the other one. That was
She
the
would
other.
always she would always say that. And of course, my middle
Right.
brother, who was just, he would crack a joke in a heartbeat. One day we're all sitting at the table and my mom comes out with that admonishment, and my brother looked at it and go, "Name 3 of them kids."
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He went to bed early that night.
Yes, sir. But we need to start having these conversations. We need to start, as best we can, helping people to make choices. When I've had the experience of being around like kids of like extended family members, a whole bunch of them. And they might come to my house and they want, we got, fruit here, but they don't want any until they taste what it is that we're offering them. And what we discovered was, while we may offer them a pear and they say, well, no, I don't want that. What we found out was when their mothers or their guardians was picking out fruit, the pear wasn't ready to eat. The fruit wasn't ready to eat. So the child develops this thing, well, no, I don't want that. That don't taste good. I mean, could you imagine being an adult? You mentioned broccoli. Can you imagine someone who's an adult that's never had broccoli before?
I can't, because I eat broccoli like candy. I mean, so no, I
Well, I'm
can't.
telling you that there are. I'm telling you there are. We've taken groups of kids to restaurants, and they will, as they're looking at the menu, they'll be asking, what is that? What is that? What is that? Now, these are common vegetables, common foods, but they've never been exposed to them. So I mean, yeah, it's some work to do, and
It is.
I recognize now it's got to be done in baby steps.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask a question. I mean, we've got Sister Sharifa's here, Sister Khalita's with us. I mean, we're testosterone heavy, but we do have a couple of women who are with us this evening. Have we ever, as a community, put together a healthy UMA cookbook?
Thought I saw one.
I don't know.
Somebody has one.
I know in Philadelphia they have one. I don't know what it consists of, and I do know I have a friend of mine in Chicago who has a health cookbook type of thing, but we haven't aggregately uh, come to a decision to do something like that. That's why I was sharing with Sister Sharif whether the consortium can take lead. Now, somebody got to take lead. I'm just saying, but that's a network or a possibility. We can ask them, and then we can download our own types of things we can on our own. But we're going to have every. I'm with you 1,000% on this focus. We're going to have to start somewhere somehow, and so let's put all the irons on the table and find which one we want to use, and just put them all out there and see what we get back.
I think that would be a great national fundraiser
Yeah,
to
of course.
have a cookbook. It'd be a huge cookbook, I'm sure,
Um,
of
look at look,
recipes, halal recipes from our community,
yes, sir.
all compiled in one book,
Man, cookbooks
and,
are
and
big time
make
business.
it available. Obviously for our community, but make it available for the broader community as well. They can buy it on Amazon. They could,
Man,
come into
cook.
our stores where we have them and buy it.
You talking
Order it
about
from
money makers?
individuals.
Cookbooks
Yes,
are money makers. They are money
right.
makers. I agree with you.
Yeah. Sister Sharifa, you got your hand up, and Sister Kalita has her hand up as well. One of the two of you go first.
Assalamu alaikum. Perhaps
Well,
Sister
alaikum salam.
Kalira can go first since I already spoken. I'll speak after her.
Okay. Sister Kalita?
Yes, assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah.
Well,
Thank you,
alaikum
Sister
salam.
Sharita. And excellent conversation tonight. I wanted to say you're right on point. We are doing it right now at Masjid Al Shahid. And Sister Michaela Muhammad is the one that you send your resume, not resumes, your recipes to. And I believe it's just something that you make really good. It's called a Masjid Al
Okay.
Shahid cookbook, but it is halal. Of course, we encourage halal. I don't think anybody's sending in any, you know, thing that's not halal, but you cook it and you make a picture of it and you send it to her. But I like the focus on healthy. Most of them, we have vegans in our masjid and we have people who just eat a variety of things. I sent in 3 recipes. One was cinnamon spice chicken. The other one was the yams that I make because they really like them. And another one was the banana pudding that the children like at the masjid that I make. But it's pretty much things that the children also enjoy and that the community's familiar with you bringing to the potlucks.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But
Right.
I wonder, yeah, that would be good for a fundraiser, like you said. And I don't know who else has turned theirs in, but we're winding down now. And so inshallah, but
Right.
great idea, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, that's it.
Man, cookbooks are big
Okay.
business.
Thank you, Sister. Sister Sharifa?
Assalamu alaikum.
Well, alaikum
And
salam.
I'm glad that Sister Kalita mentioned because hers is current, what she's referring to. I was only going to mention that, yes, we have had cookbooks previously in the past because one that I have left, but I don't think it's available anymore. It was published in 1998 and
Okay.
it was through Masjid Yusuf Shah in Mount Vernon, New York. And the title of it is Islamic Cookbook Home Cooking, and it mentions that all of the recipes are halal.
Okay.
So I just wanted to
So
mention that.
so that still exists, right? You have a copy.
I have a copy. It's from my in-law, my husband's grandmother.
That is
Because we used
fantastic.
to cook a lot.
That is fantastic. So an idea, this is just an idea. Since you don't have to recreate the wheel, is to do a reprint of that cookbook. Maybe add a couple of recipes to it to say it's updated, or however many recipes to it to say it's updated. and let's see if we can get that one, the one that Masjid Ash-Shahid is doing, and if there's one in Philadelphia, that we start to get these, because I'm going to go into the assumption that most everything that's in those cookbooks is halal recipes. It might be a mistake here or there, but I'm going to say majority of stuff in there is halal recipes. I think it's time to bring all that back up again.
Healthy recipes, one or the other.
Well, I
Yes,
mean,
indeed.
I'm assuming they're healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, like I
One or
said,
the other. One or the other.
mistakes can be made here or there, but if
Mhm.
they're halal, there's a good chance they're healthy.
Right. So.
So the possibility of reprints, pre-orders, maybe put out the version of what it is, and people can pre-order for themselves, and that way you have the money up front to be able to do the reproduction. There may be ways that we could make that work and start some type of a change in mindset as to our dietary solutions that we're coming up with. But I think anything like that that gets us moving in the right direction is something that we're going to have to deal with. As myself and a couple of other brothers yesterday, we were talking about the fact that we have a fairly robust population in our masjids of individuals 55 years and older. And then we have, whether they're probably grandchildren or whatever, we seem to have some young people who are under the age of 35 that are coming back into our masjids as well. We don't have a whole bunch of people between the ages of 35 and 50 around the country. And I know different populations, different areas have different results in that, but for the most part, and a couple of these brothers travel a lot more than I do, they were seeing those gaps. And so we can't afford to lose any seniors anytime soon until we're able to start filling in the ranks with that around 40-year-old population of people that we seem to have missed, especially amongst our brothers. I think there are sisters in that population that are active, but not a lot of brothers. So, anyway, great discussion tonight. Great ideas. It's great to see some of you guys. I knew what Rashid was doing. I didn't know what Imam Talib and his wife were doing. Fantastic stuff. We just have to figure out a way to pollinate a lot more people with these concepts and ideas and practices, so we have better health outcomes within our population. So, is there anything else?
Yes,
Any closing comments, Muhammad Sharif? Go right ahead, brother.
yes, I would like to say, don't us turn our back on network marketing. This is something we are doing right now. Imam Muhammad introduced us to network marketing with Salam Nutrition. And then he took it up to another level. He gave us CPC. That's where you invest. And that's where we were investing. So we can go back where we can start investing, not just saving money, but investing and take another look at network marketing, which we are basically doing right now on a small scale. So just thank you for taking my comments this evening.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've always been a proponent of CPC. I've never been a proponent of network marketing because I don't like hierarchies. I don't like downlines, uplines. I don't like hierarchies at all. I like everybody to have the same voice, and your participation contribution level. If I'm getting 8%, you're getting 8%. If you got $1,000 in and I got $10,000 in, and the return is 8%, I'm getting 8% on my money. You're getting 8% on your money. That's the only thing that's fair to me. And I'm really big on fairness. And I'm not really big on people making money off of other people's labor.
Well, everything has that profit motive.
I have
Everything. If
I
we,
have
if
there's
we,
nothing wrong with profit, but let's share it equally.
that's what I'm just saying now. If you bring a product, what kind of product may be into the NASDAQ, what you're speaking about, there's a profit motive. Somebody going to have to put up money to bring that product to the NASDAQ.
You guys think differently than I do because I don't think about bringing products to the masjid. I think about the masjid taking products to the world.
Assalamualaikum.
Yes.
Also, I wanted to say that the information you're giving out as far as health and exercise and eating healthy will be very relevant right now because we're getting ready to start those iftars that are like
Yes.
a full feast every night.
I know.
I'm serious. People have to-go boxes. It's a mess. They've got to clean up. Then the immigrant communities on top of that, they're donating lamb and chicken, and people are just taking to-go boxes and they just leaving out and don't have the time to eat it, and then they come back the next day. And so it's really unhealthy. We had a situation with before a sister, her sugar level really went over. I don't know what she ate. We had so many desserts, and she just wanted to try all of them. But we definitely need to have, maybe representation during Ramadan. This is
That would
excellent
be
and get it
great.
out because people definitely need it virtually, and you could promote it and come, and also just making sure that people have the mental capacity, because some people eat emotionally and some people hear what you're saying. We brought people in before who were we even had like a community-wide health challenge, and we would weigh in. This was some years ago with Sister Anika Khan and Imam Rahman Khan when he was here in Charlotte. He was one of my dad's assistant imams. But his wife, we had a competition who could lose the most weight, and we were doing exercise and then in small groups and things like that. But that was well over, I'll say 10 years ago. But this little things like that help. But people can hear good, but if they're not at a place where they're emotionally sound, and I know this sounds like an excuse, but really it is. People do know better, but they don't do better if they don't have the drive to do it and if they don't have encouragement. So it's easy sometimes to get with other people to do it
Right.
collectively as a community. I think that would help some people, and then some people are going to do it regardless because they have that mindset and they have that lifestyle. So
If you have a buddy, if you have like a buddy, right? You have a friend and you're going to accept the challenge together. And it could be husband and wife,
mhm.
or just two friends in the masjid that accept that challenge together. And especially if you're able to do that during Ramadan, because I understand exactly what you're saying about the iftars. Some of those iftars are so, oh God, the spread is so nice. I have to like make myself turn away and walk away because otherwise I'm going back through the line. I mean, brother can't get me to come sit with him too close to the food. I have to move like far away from the food. So, because some of it's just so incredibly good. I mean, people go out of their way to make delicious food. It's just, so I understand. But yeah, buddy programs, husband and wife challenges, things of that nature. Sometimes you have to make this stuff fun. You obviously have to make it tasty.
Yes.
If you're doing meals and stuff like that, and getting people to sit down and here's a healthy meal and talking about it and why it's nutritious and all that, it better taste good too.
Yeah, and speaking of that, we have committees that sign up. Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays are catered by different committees or individuals or families. Through the week is pretty much a covered dish. Whoever comes out, and you can coordinate with a group of people if you want to, but it's structured. You sign up, and actually, the Health and Wellness Committee, we're taking the first one, which was my mother's committee, and my sister kind of she's chairing it now, my older sister. So March
Mm-hmm.
1st, we're gonna plan a menu on Zoom, and we're going to bring, of course, it's going to be a healthy meal, but we've had everything from Some people just go way out. They even dress the part, color scheme, fish. They do all seafood, and then some people do all maybe salads. I've seen shrimp salad, garden salad. It's just a themed, but it depends on. And then some people just have a little bit of everything. So it's really good. And like you said, you can just overeat. Or there's some people just waste it because their stomach starts shrinking. So they had to talk about that yesterday. We had a pre-Ramadan meal yesterday. And so inshallah I'll bring that up and let me know, because we'll definitely be interested in inviting you to share with our community, inshallah.
Yeah,
Assalamu
I mean
alaikum.
that would be fun. I think even though Imam Talib is going to charge an entry fee, but what he and his wife do, that would be so interesting to me that
Hmm.
I would probably be willing to pay for that. And I've heard Rashid's presentation, which is very scientific, and I got a lot out of it. I think within our community, a layer of all those type programs, but all of them need to be fun. All of them need to be engaging, and people need to feel good going through the process of learning.
Yes.
Should be happy because we're battling that addiction that was probably started when we were 2 or 3 years old. But yeah, let's do it. Let's see what we can come up with. And you guys let's get some cookbooks out there. I'll buy a cookbook.
Okay. I'm gonna tell Michaela tonight because I didn't know she was doing that until like 3 weeks ago. But it's a good thing because that was her assignment, and she's Imam Naeem's wife. I don't see her much, but she works in the medical field, and I think in oncology, and so she's heading up this project where everybody's sending her the recipes. So I'll text her tonight and ask her about it.
Okay, very good.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
Alaikum salam. Anything else before we go this evening?
Yeah, I guess this would be my last comment, and that is, if we're going to take it out of the masjid into the open market, you're going to have finances. You're going to need money. You can't take anything outside the community without money. You have to have an outlet or a restaurant or a business or storefront or something. You got to have money, right?
Well, the cookbook needs marketing.
Yeah.
So when you're starting a business, the first thing you start with is your minimum viable product. In the entrepreneurial world, they call it your MVP. It's your base level product that you can get out there and start making money. And 9 times out of 10,
I'm still
it
here.
doesn't take much
Oh,
more money
you call out
than what you've already invested. So if we can get the cookbook, we can get a cookbook ready. We can start the process, however haphazardly. Doesn't have to be perfect. However haphazardly, we can start promoting the cookbook. We can sell it on Amazon. We can sell it in masjids. We can sell it in other online things. We can take prepayments, then produce the book to send to the people. There's different ways of doing it. We can make it an ebook for people that want to receive it that way. It can be done without a lot of investment. We can start making money, but more importantly, we can start making progress toward changing people's health outcomes. Then we can do all the big stuff after that. Once the name is out there and people want more, there's a desire, we can do more. Let's start with what we can do.
So the subject matter
Get
is
that
got
done.
it's supposed to be financial. I think the obesity is a financial problem. Okay, yeah, you're right. It is a financial problem. People die.
So, and I hope you get involved in it. I mean, I'm talking about people. Hopefully, the cookbook doesn't cost more than $25. But anyway, I'm just throwing that in there. And every one of us can come up with $25 for the cookbook. Probably the cookbook can be reproduced for less than $1.70 a cookbook. and we can make enough money to start doing some other things
Absolutely.
to help our community with health outcomes.
Yes, sir.
Every one of our masjids that has a multi-purpose facility, hopefully they got a freezer. So you can store flash frozen vegetables and things of that nature there at the masjid. And if those that have a freezer, they already do for when they're putting on meals for programs and stuff of that nature. It's just that thinking about ways of easily helping our community do better, be better. Little things. They add up. Imam Talib, will you close us out this evening? Is he not with us anymore? Did he leave? Oh my goodness, he's gone. So the man with the training from South Carolina, my brother Omar Muhammad, will you close us out this evening? He's still there, but he's on mute. Maybe he
Yeah.
stepped away from his
He may have
phone.
stepped. He may have stepped away.
So I'm gonna call on Muhammad Sharif to close us out with the dua.
Alhamdulillah.
Oh Allah, make us successful as you did make Muhammad successful. And oh Allah, bless Muhammad as you did bless Abraham and the people of Abraham. Ameen.
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 Brother Sharif,
Yes, sir.
the black seed oil, you sell a black seed oil, correct?
No, that's what I was leading to.
DeLacy.
We
That's
gonna
DeLacy.
pass.
Well, and I know DeLacy did, but I thought I heard you advertising a black seed oil as well.
Yeah,
That,
Through rain.
no, that was DeLacy,
So
the
that's
black
his
seed
product, but
oil.
you were selling it?
Yeah, no, we have a program called Soul. It's a
Okay, that's what I heard. Yes.
soul. Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
And that has the black seed oil, but that's DeLacy's black seed oil that you're selling.
No, that's when DeLacy's selling the black seed oil. No, I have
Okay.
the Soul Nutrition. That's the program that we have.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
If you get an opportunity, go to the website and just go to the website. Just go to the
Okay.
website.
I'll take a look at it.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum all. Everybody have a wonderful evening.
Wa alaikum assalam.
We will look forward to hearing from you shortly.
Well,